Hey there, old school gamers. Today's quick thought is for folks who are players, not necessarily GMs. Usually we, here at Grumpy Old GMs, we give GM content. But sometimes players' thoughts are stuff for GMs to think about too. But I want to address people who play Clerics or who like to play Clerics. Or sometimes there's people who just feel they're forced to play Clerics because the party needs a healer and somebody's got to do it. I've been at tables like that. But one thing about Clerics in Dungeons and Dragons and our various Dungeons and Dragons variation games that we like to play is that clerics turn undead. Clerics have turned undead since the beginning. This is a big, big deal that clerics turn undead. It is so important because our favorite game worlds are just crawling with undead. Now, it was kind of shocking to me when I first got into 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons that 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, a lot of people have said, and I agree, that it's basically turned your D&D characters into superheroes instead of, fantasy swords and sorcery adventurers. But that aside, of all the things that were ramped up for 5th edition, of all the things that were, amped up and powered up and increased for players in 5th edition, Clerics turning undead was nerfed. Of all the things to nerf, Clerics in 5e straight out of the book, they can only turn undead like a limited number of times per day. For instance, today's Wednesday. So tonight, we're doing Old School Essentials, the hardcore game. There's a cleric in the group, and he gets to turn undead as many times as it's needed to get the job done. And I remember in 1st edition and 2nd edition D&D, I believe the rule was once per encounter with undead. So the cleric couldn't necessarily try over and over and over again. They could try once for each encounter, but it wasn't limited to times per day or times per long rest or anything like that. If they had 20 encounters with undead that day, hope they lived, or if they did live, hope they got a lot of XP for that. But if they had 20 encounters with undead that day, then they could turn undead up to 20 times, once per encounter. So don't forget to do it though. I have been DMing lately for parties that have clerics in them, and they have taken damage and energy drain type of effects depending on the edition that we're using. Energy drain from undead does different things, but they have just been kind of torn up more than they should be by the undead because the person playing the cleric didn't understand the fundamentalness of clerics, the basic foundationalness of clerics turning undead. It is like a thing. So clerics, do not forget to turn undead. In the meantime, no matter, whatever the rules are for your particular rule set and game world. So in 5e, I do the 5e thing where it's called a channel divinity, and we keep track of times per rest and everything. So for whatever your rule set is, whatever game world you're using, don't forget to turn undead. And if you've got a cleric around and they don't remember, remind them. It's kind of important. And in the meantime, there is a Patreon down below where I can reach out to you by Discord or telephone, me and my other grumpy old GMs who have agreed to assist me, because no one person, no matter how awesome they are, can know everything. I certainly don't know everything. And sometimes the best teacher is more than one teacher. So we will reach out to you, the grumpy old GMs, for personal coaching instead of just kind of teaching and commenting here on the internet in general. We can reach out to you and help you with concerns that you have about your players, your table, your GMing style, your GMing technique, world building stuff. If you're a professional GM like me, we can help you, try to increase your income, your business, your exposure, whatever. Patreon's down below, Discord's down below to hang out with us, and at grumpyoldgms.com we've got a schedule and sign up links. There are openings. I think there's one opening left for Old School Essentials right now, and I think there's a couple openings for Dark Sun on Wednesday afternoons. We are doing WotC's Forbidden World, the Dungeons and Dragons world of Dark Sun. So in the meantime, I will see you around the gaming table.